Ladies and gentlemen, when the world is still wrapped in silence, when the streets are empty, and the air carries a sacred calm, there exists a moment of power most people let slip away. It is the early morning, that hidden treasure of time, where destiny is shaped, dreams are sharpened, and greatness begins its quiet work. When you rise before the sun, you step into a space where distractions vanish, where the noise of the world cannot yet touch you. This is not just about waking up early, it is about awakening yourself to opportunity. Every sunrise whispers a message. You are alive, you are capable, and you have today to build something extraordinary. Those who embrace the dawn claim the day before the day can claim them. In those early hours, discipline becomes your companion, clarity becomes your guide, and energy becomes your weapon. It is a sacred contract you make with yourself, choosing to stand while others still sleep, choosing to prepare when others are unaware, choosing to build while others delay. The early morning is not just time, it is leverage. It multiplies your efforts, sharpens your focus, and sets the rhythm of victory before the race has even begun. So wake up early, stand with the rising sun, breathe deeply in that stillness, and let it remind you of your purpose. Use that time to learn, to build, to create, to prepare your body, your mind, and your spirit. You will discover that the strength you've been searching for is not somewhere out there. It is waiting for you in the quiet embrace of the morning. Now the choice is yours. Stay asleep and let life pass you by, or rise early and take command of the day before it even begins. Wake up, step forward, and claim the life you were meant to live. Tomorrow morning, do not wait for opportunity. Meet it at dawn. Consider what happens when you rise in the early hours. You are stepping into a sacred battlefield where the greatest enemy you will ever face, your weaker self, waits to hold you back. That weaker self whispers, "Stay in bed, rest a little longer, there's no rush." But every time you resist that whisper, every time you choose to rise instead of remain, you strengthen the armor of your will. The daily battle, though small, builds into a monumental victory over time. The body may resist, but the mind learns obedience. And obedience to purpose is the essence of discipline. Think of the power of consistency that grows out of this practice. Each morning you wake early, you are teaching yourself reliability. You are proving to your own soul that you can be trusted, that when you set a standard for yourself, you will uphold it. This reliability spills over into every part of life, your work, your relationships, your health, your growth. People who discipline themselves in the morning carry a strength with them into the day that others cannot understand. They operate from a place of control rather than chaos, from focus rather than distraction. But this discipline is not just about controlling time. It is about shaping identity. When you rise early, you are telling the world, "I am the kind of person who chooses growth over comfort, progress over delay, purpose over distraction." That identity becomes a powerful force that drives your actions long after the morning has passed. It is no longer about what time you wake up. It is about who you are becoming because of it. You transform from someone who reacts to life into someone who commands it. Every successful person understands the law of trade-offs. To gain something great, you must be willing to give something up. Early rising demands the sacrifice of sleep, but in exchange, it gives you the wealth of discipline, and discipline is the currency of success. Imagine a life where you no longer make excuses, where you no longer wait for motivation to appear, where you no longer live as a prisoner to bad habits. That life begins with discipline, and discipline begins in the morning. Every early rising is a stroke of the hammer, shaping the steel of your character. It is slow, it is steady, and it is often unnoticed. But one day the world will see the masterpiece you have become. Clarity of mind is a gift that too many overlook, yet it is one of the greatest treasures the early morning offers. In the quiet hours before the world awakens, before phones begin to buzz, before the noise of obligations and responsibilities pours in, there is a stillness that sharpens thought like a blade. It is in this stillness that ideas flow freely, unchained by distraction. It is in this stillness that decisions are made with purpose rather than pressure. To rise early is to step into a sanctuary of focus, where your mind can breathe, reflect, and create without interference. That is the power of clarity, and it is born in the silence of dawn. When you rise before the sun, you give your mind space to align with your goals. There is no rush, no competing voices, no external demands pulling you in different directions. It is just you and your vision. This clarity allows you to map your day, instead of stumbling blindly through it. Too often people wake up late, chasing time, trying to catch up with the day rather than leading it. But the one who rises early becomes the leader of time itself, not its victim. That person enters the day already prepared, already centered, already carrying a roadmap while others are still trying to find their footing. Clarity in the morning is not just about planning, it is about perspective. When you step into the early silence, you see your life differently. The challenges ahead seem less overwhelming because you've had time to prepare your heart. The goals ahead seem closer because you've taken time to remind yourself why they matter. The noise of doubt that often fills the mind during the day cannot compete with the purity of thought that comes at sunrise. In this space, you connect with yourself on a deeper level. You hear your own voice louder than the voices of fear, doubt, or negativity. And when you begin the day from that place of strength, the storms of the world lose much of their power. The greatest achievements, inventions, and creations were born out of focused thought, not scattered minds. And focused thought is nurtured in the morning, when clarity is at its strongest. If you want to write, the morning silence gives you words. If you want to learn, the morning focus gives you comprehension. If you want to create, the morning freshness gives you vision. It is no coincidence that the minds who shaped history often valued the first hours of the day. They knew that when the mind is clear, the impossible becomes possible. Think about how many people live in constant noise, rushing from task to task, never stopping to think, never giving themselves the gift of clarity. They drown in distraction, and as a result, their potential never reaches the surface. But you, if you choose to rise early, step into a completely different world. You are not rushing, you are preparing. You are not scattered, you are centered. You are not lost, you are guided by a vision you gave yourself in the quiet of dawn. That clarity becomes your anchor throughout the day, keeping you grounded when challenges appear and focused when opportunities knock. Clarity is power, and the early morning is where that power is refined. It is where you align your thoughts with your actions, where you turn confusion into strategy, where you replace noise with direction. The world will always be chaotic, but if you master the mornings, that chaos will never master you. Morning energy is unlike any other force you will encounter in the day. It is raw, it is pure, and it is untainted by the weight of yesterday's failures or today's distractions. The early morning carries a current of renewal, as if the universe itself has pressed a reset button, handing you a fresh chance to begin again. To rise with the sun is to tap into this natural surge of power, to align your body and mind with the rhythm of creation itself. This is not ordinary energy, it is momentum, the kind that sets the tone for every decision, every action, and every outcome that follows. When you wake late, dragging yourself into the day, you step into life already tired, already behind, already reacting instead of acting. But when you wake early, you step into the day ahead of the world. charged with vitality that pushes you forward with purpose. That energy becomes fuel for achievement. It gives you the strength to exercise when others are still in bed, the focus to study when others are scrolling through their phones, the determination to work on your dreams while the world still sleeps. In those hours, you are not drained by external pressures. Instead, you are lifted by the freshness of a new beginning. This energy is not just physical, it is mental and spiritual. The body feels alive, but the mind feels sharper and the spirit feels calmer. Imagine beginning each day not in a rush, but in control, with energy flowing through you like a river, steady and unstoppable. That energy allows you to tackle challenges with confidence, to push past obstacles with resilience, to carry yourself through the day not with dread, but with a quiet power that others notice. The truth is, energy is contagious. The strength you build in the morning spreads into every area of your life. When you walk into your workplace with clarity and vigor, others feel it. When you sit down with your family, they sense your presence and focus. When you chase your goals with determination, opportunities respond to you. Energy attracts, and when it is born in the morning, it carries a purity that no afternoon fatigue or evening stress can match. It becomes your competitive advantage, the invisible edge that propels you beyond the crowd. And think of the discipline this energy nurtures. When you rise early and use that power wisely, you create habits that reinforce themselves. The morning workout builds a stronger body. The morning reading sharpens your mind. The morning planning sets the day on fire with intention. These small acts, powered by morning energy, compound over time into massive results. You become more consistent, more productive, and more unstoppable because your foundation was built on energy rather than exhaustion. But here is what makes morning energy truly remarkable. It transforms your mindset. Instead of dreading the day, you welcome it. Instead of feeling weighed down by tasks, you rise above them. Instead of seeing obstacles as barriers, you see them as opportunities to use the strength you've already generated. Morning energy becomes a shield against negativity, a sword against doubt, and a torch that lights the path to your goals. Every sunrise is an invitation to claim this gift. It is nature offering you strength, asking only that you rise to receive it. If you ignore it, you walk into the day half empty. But if you embrace it, you march into the world fully charged, unstoppable, and ready to conquer whatever lies ahead. Opportunity belongs to the early riser, because the world rewards those who prepare before it demands action. The morning is more than just hours on a clock. It is a gateway to advantage, a window of time that separates those who wait for luck from those who create it. When you rise early, you step into the arena of life ahead of the competition, ahead of the noise, ahead of the distractions that devour so many dreams. You don't stumble into opportunity by chance. You meet it face to face because you were ready before the rest of the world even opened its eyes. Think about what happens when you are awake while others sleep. You have access to hours of undisturbed time, hours that can be invested into building, learning, growing, or strategizing. Those hours are not just minutes on a clock, they are bricks laid in the foundation of your future. While the majority are still dreaming in their beds, you're building your dream in reality. That head start compounds over days, weeks, months, and years, until it becomes a staggering advantage. One day, people will look at your success and call it luck, but you will know it was born in the quiet sacrifices of early mornings. Opportunity rarely knocks on the door of those who are unprepared. It visits those who have trained, studied, and worked when nobody was watching. Rising early gives you that preparation. It gives you the chance to polish your skills, to think strategically, to sharpen your vision before the day can distract you. The early riser doesn't wait for the perfect moment. They create it by being ahead of time, ahead of readiness, ahead of hesitation. That is why the world bends in their favor, because they arrive before the crowd, ready to act when others are still planning. This truth can be seen in every field of life. In business, the one who starts their day before their competitors has already made progress, while others are still waking up. In health, the one who trains in the morning builds consistency that others envy but cannot replicate. In personal growth, the one who reads, reflects, and learns at dawn develops wisdom that others spend a lifetime chasing. Opportunity doesn't belong to everyone equally. It belongs to those who place themselves in its path. And the early morning is where that path begins. Imagine this: two people are given the same 24 hours. One sleeps late, wakes rushed, stumbles into the day unprepared, and spends it trying to catch up. The other rises early, sets the tone, invests those sacred hours into growth, and moves through the day already carrying momentum. By the end of the day, the difference between them is enormous. Multiply that difference across years, and you see why one lives a life of missed chances, while the other lives a life full of seized opportunities. Every sunrise presents a choice. Sleep through your chance or rise and claim it. The early morning is not simply time on a clock. It is a doorway to opportunity, and only those willing to wake and walk through it will ever know what waits on the other side.